a lot of people, including myself, as a Republican, are very tired of the chaos and the circus that surrounds former President Donald Trump. In my case, in my personal view, I'm exhausted of this type of behavior.
Donald Trump will become the first US president to face criminal charges after a grand jury voted to indict him over allegations of hush money paid to the porn star Stormy Williams. That all happened ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Well, the actual charges aren't yet known, but US media report there are more than 24. Well, let's speak to Amy Tarkanian, who is a Republican Party strategist and former chair of the Nevada Republican Party. She's in Las Vegas and joins us now live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for staying up late for us. I'm very grateful to you. First of all, what do you make of these charges?
Sure. Well, it's a mixture of feelings, actually. One being, I think this is actually going to backfire on the left, and I say that because either, if he does find out to be guilty or innocent, I think this emboldens his base. Within minutes of this announcement coming out, his campaign already pushed out a fundraising email calling this a witch hunt, and his base is devoted. And I think that this is going to help him in a primary, unfortunately, but I think it will hurt him in a general with especially third party voters, those being the independents and nonpartisans. A lot of people, including myself, as a Republican, are very tired of the chaos and the circus that surrounds former President Donald Trump. In my case, in my personal view, I'm exhausted of this type of behavior. But the DA, Alan Bragg, when he campaigned for his position, he was very vocal that one of his focuses was going to be on taking down Donald Trump. So this does seem politically motivated, unfortunately, which is going to be a huge stain on our judicial system. So I think no matter what happens in the end with this situation, you're going to have people not feeling very confident about the way that our government is being ran.
I mean, you say politically motivated, and obviously we don't know the charges yet, but the suggestion is that one of the charges will be the fact that money was paid to Stormy Daniels to try and stop her coming out and speak publicly about their very brief affair. Nothing illegal in paying somebody money and effectively having an NDA, but it is thought that it was then filed in his business affairs as legal expenses, and therefore that is a financial irregularity. It is incorrect, and that is the illegality. I mean, if that is the case, people can't really argue with that. That is the fact. But are you just saying that actually, to his base, that won't matter because it is just they've made their choice, they've made their decision already because of the very nature of the way Donald Trump is?
Correct. Now, the FEC, which oversees campaign finance laws, it would actually be a federal crime if they were to have found anything done incorrectly, and they did not find anything done incorrectly. So the way that the DA is going about this is he's claiming that there was business fraud, the way that they filed the money, the hush money, the way that they labeled it, put it under the category of legal expenses or personal expenses. And so he's trying to make the crime, I guess, if you would, what would normally be a misdemeanor into a federal law, even though the FEC, which falls underneath the federal category, already found him to not be at fault.
Are you concerned that there could be protests on the street, maybe even violence?
No, and I think actually January 6th was a very good example of a hard lesson learned for a number of his devoted followers. And so, we saw hundreds of people that were arrested and are still sitting in prison today. And so I think people are, thinking twice about maybe the way that they would protest.
I mean, you have been a delegate for Trump. You've voted for him twice. You've been a big Trump supporter. What's changed for you?
Well, I think many Republicans, such as myself, are ready for a statesman or a stateswoman. We liked a number of the policies, but we're tired of the personality. We're tired of the bullying. We're tired of the name calling. There's a country to be ran. We have many problems that need to be taken care of. And the name calling is exhausting, and it gets us nowhere. And I think that the country is really hungry for somebody who exudes strength but is a statesman.
There are, of course, no rules, are there, in the US that would prevent Donald Trump standing to be the Republican nominee, whether he's facing these charges and they're still hanging over his head, or even indeed if he was convicted?
Yeah, I don't believe that there are. And in fact, I mean, this is the very first time. So this is new. This is new territory. I would hope that he would not run. I think that he believes that he's still okay to run. Like I said, I think that, the fact that it shows he's going to go full steam ahead, especially since they put out that fundraising email within minutes of this being announced. He's not going to slow down or back down whatsoever.
We were speaking to a US journalist earlier on, and we'll be playing it out in around 20 minutes' time, where she said that actually many Republicans and Trump supporters are actually feeling emboldened by this. Ron DeSantis is actually concerned that this is going to help Donald Trump win the Republican nomination. Is that what you think, that this is going to mean that he could become that Republican nominee?
100%. This is going to be a huge mistake on the left's part if they continue down this path. In a primary, you normally see the party devoted turnout, and you'll see the far left and the far right. And then when it comes time for a general, you'll have the people who are more midstream, people who maybe aren't paying as close attention to all the details, such as myself, more political nerds, if you will. People who are not as hyper focused on politics until the actual election day comes. And so you're going to see him most likely, if they continue pushing this narrative, he will end up being the nominee. But I don't think it will bode well for him in a general.
Really interesting stuff. Amy, thank you so much for staying up late for us.
Thank you.
That is Amy Tarkanian. She is a Republican Party strategist. She's former chair of the Nevada Republican Party. And as we heard there, she voted for Donald Trump twice. She was a delegate for Trump. She liked his policies. They were appealing, but she's just kind of exhausted by the behaviour of Donald Trump. And she wants this to go away, but she fears that it's going to embolden him.
Thank you so much for watching. You get extra points for making it all the way to the end of the video.
And if you want to see more from me, Chloe and Callum, you can join us every Friday to Sunday on Times Radio from 6 a.m.